that you cannot equate to any kind of value. So as you move around, as you continue living your life, whatever you do, just know that God has placed a priceless value on your life, and you need to live according to that value.
Mm-hmm.
That is my message to you this morning. Good morning, dear listeners.
Great stuff. All right. Great stuff on the program. And joining us via Zoom. All right. I'm just connecting the assassin of the shores of Perth in Australia. Assassin, welcome on deck. How's your muzzle loader doing on that end? All right, and then we have the young prodigy, Maps, joining us right within the heart of Lusaka. How are you doing, Maps? How are you doing, Maps?
Fine, thanks. How's everyone?
Okay.
I'm fine, thank you. How's everyone doing? To be part of the show, thank you very much.
We're doing very well, Major, I hope you're doing fine. Wankaziki kamanje?
Manje aponga niposha hapo manje. Good, thank you. How's everybody there?
We're doing fine. Jerry says we're in a dual citizenship.
At Chad.
We're in a dual citizenship.
Iwe.
So did you get the citizenship of that country as well?
No, not yet.
Anyway, we're glad to have you back on the program. Now, gentlemen, we definitely have been having a series of discussions around the Chipolopolo technical bench. We had all the excitement, all right, when it was announced that Beston is the man in charge, albeit for 3 months, all right? And then now, what I would really want us to focus on today is, do we have the right assistants for Beston to succeed as Chipolopolo trainer? That's my first question. So I'll start with you gentlemen that are joining us via Zoom, because you're in a weaker position to contribute on the program. So we start with you, and then we'll get our in-studio guests who can really come in at any time and then shoot at them at the target from whatever angle. All right. So now Beston Chambeshi has technical advisor Ayosa Asanovic as practically his assistant. All right. Now he will be assisted also by Caro Prasenzia as assistant coach, and Stefan Karevich, who will serve as a video assistant in a way. So that's Beston's backroom stuff. At some point, we thought it was Numba Mumamba who would actually assist him, but from this report, he's conspicuously missing. Instead, we a Caro Prasenzia and also another gentleman. I'm still trying to master their names here. All right, Ayosa Asanovic, who is the lead technical advisor there, and Stefan Karevich, all right, who comes through as video assistant. Let me start with Maps and then get on to Major, and then we'll pick it up with Andrew and Jerry in studio. Maps, what do you make of this backroom stuff to assist Beston? Does Beston have the best to help him succeed as Chipolopolo gaffer?
Well, they do come with some experience, according to what I've seen, according to what I've read. It's good actually for Beston Chambeshi. He's working with a team and not actually holding all the decisions by himself, because I've seen from the experience of the under-20 during the World Cup, and under-23 during the Africa Cup of Nations held in Egypt, he does have some tactical deficiencies, unfortunately. He is, however, a good manager, a good motivator, someone who might keep the team together. And, for the fact that he is our local man, he knows the players best. He knows our local players best. So if he has assistance technically with the Croats, assisting him, making decisions that will help us tactically and technically, because he also lacks in the technical aspect of the game. You know, he's an old-fashioned gaffer. He's more of a long ball kind of player, and you know that's not how modern football is. That's not how modern football has moved at this point. So I think it is a good move because everyone at this point, after the failed experience with Micho, was yearning for a local coach. But I feel like our local coaches are really good. They just need a bit of help advancing towards modern football at this point. And it's a good move by Faz to assist him with some people who have experience in that regard. So I feel like it's a really good appointment for the Croats. I hope they will deliver. I'm just praying they will deliver because Zambian football, men's football to be specific, has really suffered. It's really gone down over the years, and we're hungry for change at this point. So if that turns out to be the best, then so be it. I will support them 100%.
All right, Major, let's get on with you, and then we'll have Jerry and Andrew coming in the studio. Do you have the right backroom staff? What happened to Mumba Mumamba? Well, I feel like getting in touch with the Fast Communications manager so that he could probably maybe give us a position on that one. But what do you have to say on, should we call it a somersault on Mumba, performed by people that appointed the technical bench?
Well, at this point, I guess it's pretty late to comment on who has been appointed and who hasn't really. Whoever has scored the shots at Faz, probably they have done it because there was some background kind of discussions and the communique that we were not privy to. But my guess is that Zesco are an ambitious club, and they probably didn't want to risk the chance, or to risk the chance of Zesco progressing in continental football when they have their manager somewhat having dual kind of roles at national level and at club level. For me, that's just my guess, and because of that, maybe they somewhat talked off the opportunity for Numba to become assistant coach at national level, because it is a huge responsibility for Numba to double role. We saw this with Beston himself when he was when he had the opportunity to lead the junior charges into the competitions that Max has just highlighted earlier, and Kana suffered in the process. So, like the Bible clearly states, you cannot save two masters at the time. So one of them definitely suffered, and in that, looking back, you would notice to say Nkana's fortunes breathed because of Beston's continued engagement at national level. So maybe Zesco thought in those lines and thought, well, they have a gaffer who is going to have roles that are going to split his concentration at club level, and because of that, maybe they talked him out. That's my only guess. And if it is going by that, it is a wise decision, really, because national team coaches, I really can't remember in big, and when I say big, I mean countries that have really performed on the global level. I can't remember any coach that has dual roles at national level and at club level. They tend not to do that. So once you are appointed for national team, which is considered to be a really big honor, I think they tend to divorce themselves from the club so that they have their concentration on the club or on the national task. By so doing, the bias is somewhat also removed from the coach, because then he has the opportunity to look at the cake in its full entirety. You can look at Zesco, you can look at Zanaco, you can look at Red Arrows, Green Eagles, all these other clubs that make up the Super League. with a very neutral perspective. And like if you are still tied to one club, you tend to somewhat have, we're just humans after all, tend to have a certain bias towards players at your club. Let's say, for example, I coach one for you guys in the studio there, and then they give me an appointment at Awe, or let's say, let's bring it closer to home. The way we are a team here, and Renzo is our head. And then he's given the opportunity to go and present to Super Sport. When I'm back, Sanka and when I'm back this year for my panelists, I'm on the brand. So now it's a Backpage. Katika Buran 19 hours tika the Backpage tika na kambata enda kwa kambira tuanza kutonona panga kwanyu ku Super Sport. So that I think they try to remove that so that a coach is seen as a neutral element in the whole process, and even his judgment is not clouded by the fact that he has ties to a particular club. So if Zesco were thinking in those lines for Numba, then kudos to them. However, we have a Zambian man in Boston Chambeshi, and he's been surrounded by the Croatians. I want to believe this is a process that Faz initiated a few years back. Can't really remember when, but Andrew had talked about Suka and how they were going to be working with the FA, and there was an opportunity for Zambia to travel that side. I think the under 20, and I can't remember which of the developing sides to host a series of friendlies. They did some, and some I think were abandoned in that tournament because of COVID. So there is a relationship that started building, and because of that, the Croatians also pledged their support to the Zambian FA, and probably this is the support that they meant. And Matt summarizes it well. Boston might be the best man manager. We say that in the under 20 tournaments and all, but he dangerously lacked in terms of tactical ability. I think we got over the line on the African continent because of the home support that we had for the boys. They played with raw talent. They just went for it, gun blazing, and got over the line. We beat Senegal and got the trophy. But at that level, we needed a bit of some technical ability, and he tumbled when the time was called for him to perform. He made technical errors that costed us the tournament. So bringing technical people around him would certainly help. It would certainly help because, best is I'm not too privy with his coaching badges, but football has evolved, really. It has evolved to certain approaches, certain technologies, and he might not have had the opportunity to harness such knowledge, and bringing people around him that probably have that skill would certainly do him a lot of good.
Okay.
So we hope to see what really will come out of this relationship.
Okay, great stuff. Jerry, Beston looks a little bit, does he really strike you as a man absolutely in charge of the lads, with the Croatians, or with the Croats, as Maps is putting it, in charge of the Chipolo Polo?
Well, not quite, Lorenzo. The images that we saw of our very own Quicksilver, surrounded by
Croats.
It left a lot to the imagination, because initially, like you've alluded to, we were told he was coming in as a coach to be assisted by Mumamba Numba.
Yeah.
And is it Ivanovic? Asanovic, sorry. Would be the technical advisor. There was no mention of the two other gents. Now they've come in, and we don't know exactly what their arrangements are. We found that Mumamba won't be part of the technical bench. From what we've read in the papers, he's been excused so that he can take charge of Zesco in the CAF competition, because if there's an early elimination, then it's going to jeopardize Zambia's 4 slots in the continental competitions. So we really need adequate preparations from him. Really prepare the team so that they can progress in the competition. Otherwise, we found that knocked off in the preliminary stages, and they'll say, look, Zambia, you haven't been doing it in the past couple of years, so we're removing 2 slots from you. We just remain with 1 in the Champions League and 1 in the Confederations Cup. So there it is, best on 3-month assignment, at least to take Zambia through the first 3 games of the World Cup qualifiers. It's worrying because you usually need stability when you're going on a World Cup qualification campaign.
Absolutely.
You need a settled bench. The coach's been there. He knows his players. He's picked them. He's planned ahead rather than 3 months and then afterwards changes again. Maybe a new coach comes in. He wants his own players. But that said, we're already in this position. So all we can do is support Beston and Asanovic and the other 2 gentlemen, and hopefully they can put together a team that's going to do well and probably win the first couple of games. Because what's happened in the past usually is that maybe you start the qualification campaign, you're still unsettled, not everything is in place. You even lose the first game, so it's very important to start well and continue with that momentum for the rest of the qualifiers. A lot of fingers or maybe question marks have come up on Beston's technical know-how based on what
tactical news
in the past. I'd like to learn. He's taken all that on board, learn from what happened in the under-20 World Cup match, which we lost to Italy, and other matches there as well, and is gone on to improve his tactical acumen. He's done well. Look at Ankana. They were virtually going down before he came in and steadied the ship, went on a winning run, and they've survived. So he's proven himself. And he's proven himself at under 20 level as well, and he's coached other clubs as well apart from Ghana. So we can only hope that everything will be in place and the right players will be chosen, the right attitude, the right spirit will be cultivated in the players, and we can get off to a flying start in the World Cup qualifiers.
Okay, beautiful. Now, Andrew, 3 months. Some people believe 3 months is somewhat short. Jerry actually has echoed that concern. 3 months is very short. The qualifying series themselves are not even 3 months, are they? It's more than 3 months, not so.
Yeah.
All right. Could it be that the 3 months is just on paper? We have Beston as the man to be in charge for a longer time. But why not give him a substantive long-term contract? That's the question that begs an answer.
These are the issues, Lorenzo, that we have always raised to say we can't take the national team lightly. We all know that the national team players, coaches, technical staff, backroom staff, they need a lot of time to gel, to bond, and to start delivering. So 3 months is quite short. And when I look at his list of players, I'm a little bit worried. Some of these players have failed at the senior national team level. And he's left out some of the players that I personally thought were a revelation at the time of Mitchell. One such player is Benson Sakala, who to me, I feel like he took over that midfield role. And it would have been good to see him consistently play, in the national team. Now, these are the worries. He comes in with his team, and within these 3 months, I hope this team can gel and deliver. Although they do not have the 3 months to the next challenge, which is a few weeks from now. So it really would have been good if, say, he was given like 2 years, like what happened to Mitchell. But what am I reading in this? What I'm reading in this, Lorenzo, is that probably Beston is there to work with the Asanovic on a transitional level.
You suspect Asanovic is the man?
That is my take, Lorenzo.
Okay.
Asanovic has come with his own backroom staff. Has Beston got his own backroom staff? He hasn't got. So for me, that is what I'm reading into this. That at the end of it,
So we need to smell the coffee,
Asanovic, yes, Asanovic
Could be the man to eventually take over.
And Beston is there to like offer that cushion, the transition cushion. From which,
He's a groomsman.
so
better
that,
foot, eh?
Asanovic shouldn't sit in there and come in as somebody who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, because what Andrew is saying is worth noting, eh?
Yeah, but here is Beston, who knows all the players around, who's worked with the under-20, has worked with the senior national team, has been around, for a while and has coached different teams. So he understands, the players around quite well, and he will offer this transitional cushion to make sure that Asanovic settles in nicely without, avoiding potholes. So to me, this is what I'm reading into this, but that is just me reading into this. I don't know whether that is what the plan for, Faz has. But having said that, 3 months Lorenzo is way too short, for a national team coach. And let us not forget that we haven't heard him say that he has left the Nkana job. So which means he's got 2 roles here, and 2 roles of coaching 2 teams, and we're going into the qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers. Nkana just survived relegation. You can imagine the amount of pressure we have put on the man. So it's really a lot of pressure for him. I hope that he has what it takes to make sure that he sucks in that pressure and delivers, both at Nkana and at the national team.
Okay, let me read text messages, then I'm getting back to Major, the assassin there, and Maps. All right, Joe Senior Banda says, Mr. Jerry, and all greetings. Then Patrick Monson says, morning all, I'm tuned in, watching from Dola. OBC Hubwa says, good people, thank you. Mefford Pojana says, watching you from Mungole Chibombo. Munkondia Panji MP says, wishing Patson Daka all the best to the Pasiavonga Chabe. All right, because gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Community Shield, Man City versus Leicester City. Much of our second half of Backpage will probably focus on that. How could our Patson Daka really feature pretty well? We saw how he played against Villarreal. Well, we're actually going to give a technical overview of his performance in pre-season with Leicester City so far. All right, because we've seen him playing for Leicester against quite a number of sides there. All right, then Vambanji Chiwa says, good morning. Muke says, good morning, guys. Looking good. Always watching you from work. Vambanji is in Chingola. Thank you, Vambanji. Schneider Soko says, wow, praise God that we are all alive. Please, can you also discuss other Zambian sons who play for Chipolo Polo, who are confirmed to play? All right, but Schneider, we'll get to look at that too. Machai Lee Jr. says, watching live from Inwood, Chamba Valley, Lusaka. Good to see my man Jerry back in the studio. Even though I'm Arsenal, he says.
I see you're spending, huh? 50 million pounds on Ben White.
Imagine, they're really serious in tightening it up at the back. It's been a while. Looking forward to nothing but the very best on today's show. Greetings. Thanks, Machai Lee Jr. Thompson Chilambo says, listening at home. Andrew Nkata says, what's your frequency for Chipata? Should be 98.1. I'll have to counter check that for you, Andrew. Rexon says, good morning, brother Lorenzo, by Andrew and Jerry, watching you from Tendere. Jackson Supu says, good morning, Lorenzo and Pano. It's yet another football weekend. I'm enjoying the program, watching you from within Lusaka, Arsenal and Barca for life. Rexon says, all the best to the Zambian players who are in the diaspora. Nawa Lindunda says, good morning, Raw White Shadow Walker. Andrew, you never walk alone, ambassador. One Basel back at the national team. Aye Numba won't be part of the coaching bench. Give us more information over the same. Jack Grealish, Adula, English players too expensive. Watching live from Mungo, the Rice Nation. Thank you, Nawa. And then Solomon Kalandanya says on board, awesome panel. Anxiously waiting for the genesis of the EPL next weekend, my brother. But the championship is on this weekend. Ken Kandawire says, good morning, guys. I think Asanovic is the next coach for the Chipolo Polo. Exactly what Andrew is saying. Chambeshi is just showing him the way. All right. Then Douglas Kaliba says, watching and good morning to all. Moses Kabuso says, good morning, Lorenzo and Pano. Everyone tuned in. Congrats to the heir to Rising Star, Patson Daka, for the first score for his club. And the other guys, thank you for making Zambia proud. I'm proud of you. So, Assassin, get ready. You're the one coming on next. Emmanuel Piri says, following from Kanchimia, I'm enjoying the show as always. That's in Muchinga. Aaron Daviko Jr. says, watching the show from Kitwe Kalulushi. Pamwaiseni, Aaron Device Jr., Power Dynamos and Chelsea supporter. Moses Odoi Jr. says, good morning, Well White, Papa, and all panelists in the studio. The ones via Zoom. I always hear from the others. I have been a listener of this show for Zingati years. And today, Naine, let me say, Moses has been a listener of this show since 2011.
Wow.
Wow. When I was in grade 8 and still a listener even now. I remember those days in 2014 when going to the farm to field, I would go with a radio on Saturday while busy planting on the other side, busy listening to you. We have and still learning a lot from this show. I'm Moses Odoi Jr. from Matero.
Excellent.
All right, Moses Odoi, thank you. Yeah, dedicated, 10 years. That's a decade. Thank you very much for tuning in. Matthew Chushi says, good morning, all is tuned in from Yakutsk, Russia in Siberia. This man is very consistent.
Yeah.
No matter how cold it is in Siberia, you will find time. You always tune in. Thank you very much, Matthew Chushi.
For that listener loyalty, for sure.
Exactly, for that listener loyalty. And then Friday, Mukuka says, good morning, panel. Brother Lore, is Messi coming to your team Madrid? For the first time in my life, I will support 3 teams in England. Don't ask me why.
Can't never.
Can't never. Jen Namonje says, morning guys, enjoying the show, watching from Chongwe. James Ndura Kwenda says, watching from 9 miles. White Sonsilavo Luswili says, I think the technical advisor will take over the coaching position after 3 months because we can't bring in a foreign coach. Oliver Bene says, good morning, Lorenzo and Pano. I'm watching from Mukonchi, Kapirin Poshi. Looking forward to see Papa facing the best team in the world, Man City, this weekend. John Sikanyika says, morning, Pano. Watching you live from Dola. Chambeshi can deliver. Let's just support him. Loco is Laka. Andrew, you never walk alone. Keep it up. I love this program. Thank you, John.
I don't know.
Are you Liverpool?
I don't know. That's a good person to say that.
Yeah. We need to read through the lines. All right. Sinikunda Wamkumbu says scholarly greeting.
Guys, come on, guys.
All right. Okay.
I'm still Manu. Come on, gents. Come on.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now, Major, you're next in line. There's a general feeling that Beston is the groomsman here. Ayosa Asanovic could be the man that is really being groomed to take over as Chipolopolo gaffer. Do you see any iota of truth in that assertion or suspicion? Or for now, all we could say is this is speculative.
There is plenty of it pointing to that direction, and I think Jerry earlier gave a little bit of some what would say pointers with regards to what could be happening here. Because when you have an assistant, that's just it. But if an assistant comes with his own assistant,
video assistant, can you imagine?
Background crew, then it tells you to say there is a possible takeover looming. So all in all, it could be a smoother transition compared to what happened with my man Mitchell, because Mitchell came in and he came in bang on his head, and he had to start from scratch. Probably he watched a few Zambian players, would have followed the Zambian national team, but his depth and knowledge of the Zambian local system was inadequate. So he could have arrived and already was in the deep end of the water. So that could have affected him. So maybe the approach this time is to smoothen the transition and incorporate the team, that the would-be takeover team with a local who would show them the way, give them a few pointers here and there before they finally find their feet. That is my suspicion as well, because I think the writing is on the wall. You can tell to say Besto is just there as he's just warming the seat. But who knows? Maybe maybe it will go on like this. But also the other point that tells you is the mere fact that qualification is the qualifiers happen over a longer period of time, and if you have made a broad decision of firing a gaffer who you had a 2-year contract with, and then replacing him with somebody who you're only going to give a 3 months transitional contract, and with this a lot of cries that the administration, the FA administration is backpedaling, then you must be so brave to go that direction. So I think Faz is playing smart with the general populace, and you can forgive them for going that direction, because the general outcry was that we needed a local man to take charge of the national team, and probably they heed to that cry in inverted commas, whilst trying to usher in this other foreign guy to take over.
Okay, all right, beautiful. Maps, the protege, is the feeling neutral with what the in-studio guests have submitted and what the assassin with his double muzzle loader has just submitted?
Absolutely. I didn't want to talk about that conspiracy theory at the beginning, but as earlier alluded to by my daddy Andrew there and Major, it's all I can be pointing to, because the first round of the qualifiers ends in November, and he's given this 3-month contract in July. So I'm not sure. I haven't based or whether they'll renew afterwards, but that's all I can be seeing. At the beginning, we were all told he'll be working closely with Numba Mumba. But from recent reports and from recent pictures that we've seen, Numba is nowhere near. Numba is nowhere near that technical bench. We can see a technical bench full of Croats. So, that's what it's pointed. I think someone suggested this even last time. I can't remember if it was one of the panelists or one of the viewers who commented to say, leaving where. And if they're doing that, well, that's okay. That's okay for me, because you have someone who can unite the team, who can put this team that's in turmoil and give it harmony over time. They see Weston as a teacher, a father figure, and he's respected in that right. So having someone like him, having the players surrounded by someone like him is okay. At the same time, you give probably the person or the coach who's going to take over some time to review the players and understand and get to know them, and get to see how best he can work with them. Indeed, if he's the one to take over after 3 months. So it's a good plan, because at the same time, like Ramesh has suggested, you need to please the masses, especially when they're so upset with the current state of football at the moment. No fan is happy. Whatever your affiliation is, no football fan, no genuine football fan is happy with what's going on with the same national team. So you have to please the masses. Fight for the local coach. They stay the local coach, and it seems it's not the local coach. People want coach nonetheless. So doing that, maybe it was just what on some hot air. But I think it's definitely what's going to happen. Though we have to see. Maybe they might change their mind, or it might not work out in the end. But I think it's definitely what's going on.
Okay, all right. On the other side, German, we continue with today's edition of Backpage. Young Green Eagles, German, remain demoted to the first division. The FAS disciplinary committee did uphold the ruling by the player status committee, if I'm not mistaken, right? All right, and then on top of that, it's Leicester City against Man City in this year's Community Shield tournament. All right, how will Patson Daka play out for his new side in his first competitive game of the season? All this and many more. We're definitely going to interact. All right, so Major and Maps, we'll catch you on the other side for more interactive sessions on today's edition of Backpage.
Definitely.
Okay, for those of you catching us via Facebook Live, we'll definitely have you reconnected in a teeny tiny bit. You can also connect with us via YouTube Live, and we'll have you reconnected as well in a teeny tiny bit. Alan Mwape, Victor Chisi, William Shipilo, and Kakoma Kapatashi would like to appreciate you having connected via YouTube Live. Hit the red subscribe button once you open Lorenzo Entertainment TV. Join us on the other side.